Hello, I'm here for DeBarra's spoken word. I'm Moze Jacobs talking to Matthew Geden. Matthew's in Kinsale. I'm in the west of West Cork, in a secret location. Matthew is our next guest on March 10th, 2021, the start of the year. We're still marred in lockdown. And anyone who turns up at our Zoom meeting is in for a treat, because Matthew is a man of many writing and other talents. For starters, he is the current writer in residence for Cork County Council. And I've asked him to introduce himself and to introduce the workshop that he's going to do on the evening. Matthew, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Moze. Okay, so my name's Matthew Geden. I was born and brought up in England, in the English Midlands, but in 1990 I moved over to Kinsale in County Cork to write and to work and do other things. I've been here ever since, so over 30 years. Still a blow-in, but you know, that's okay. So during that time I've published several collections of poetry, including The Place Inside from Daedalus Press, and most recently Fruit from SurVision books, which is the book I'm going to be reading from on the 10th of March. I'm also, as Moses says, I'm writer in residence at the moment for Cork County Library and Arts Office, and I was in 2019 writer in residence in Nanjing in China, just before the whole thing sort of went haywire with pandemics and everything. So yeah, what I'd like to do on the 10th is I'll read from my own collection, which, as I say, is called Fruit and is a book published by SurVision Books, who are an Irish surrealist publisher, if you can imagine such a thing. For those of you who want to know a bit more about surrealism, I'll say a little bit now, but I'll say more on the night. If you think of surrealism and you think of writers such as André Breton, Max Ernst, Leonora Carrington, and others, then you're on the right lines. If you think of surrealism and you think of a kitchen table smoking a pipe, then you're even more on the right lines. Surrealism is both those things. It was very much inspired by Sigmund Freud's writings about dreams and the unconscious and free association. So it is a little bit mad. It fits in nicely with the Mad Hatter theme for the 10th. It's all about playfulness and absence of control and freeing the imagination. So hopefully we'll have a really good night. And I plan to, after the reading, to do a little workshop based upon some surrealist exercises and games. So hopefully you'll all be up for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Matthew. That's really, I'm not sure if enlightening is the right word yet. We're not enlightened yet, but you know, do you feel that it's a good thing in general to dip into the subconscious or unconscious? I'm not sure if that's the same thing actually.
Yeah, I think it is. I think by sort of freeing the imagination, you can come up with a kind of alternative reality, another way of looking at the world, which may well be just as viable, really, or as relevant as the kind of so-called reality that we live in. I think it's creatively, it's very, very productive. And sometimes some of the associations you come up with can be really enlightening, not only about yourself, but about the world we live in.
A bit like dreams that can sometimes suddenly make you feel like, oh, this told me something that I didn't know before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the surrealism in the 1920s, the French surrealists used dreams in a lot of their writings. It was an important part of it. And as I say, that came out of Freud's work on dream analysis, and then later Jung as well has had a big influence on surrealist writing. So yeah, I think it's an interesting area. It is a little bit mad, as I say. In fact, Salvador Dali said the only difference between a madman and myself is I am not mad.
That part of himself probably wasn't.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for fruit, can you say a little bit about what inspired you? Was it your own dreams, or how did you set about writing surrealist poetry?
Yeah, it wasn't so much, I think, dreams for me anyway. It was like I felt I wanted to escape my own kind of persona, my own writing voice. I wanted to explore other avenues. I mean, a lot of my poetry work before has been very influenced by sort of place. This time I wanted to go more into the imagination, and through surrealism, it enables you to do that, I think. And so Fruit really was a bit of an experiment, really. It started off with the title sequence of poems, and it was a way of looking at the world through a kind of surrealist perspective. I mean, each poem is loosely based on a piece of fruit, but you know, it's not obvious what piece of fruit it is in the poem. I kind of like to move away from it. So yeah, it's a new way of for me anyway of writing, and I found it very liberating, really, actually, Moze.
Okay, thank you very much. I have just two questions for you. One is huge and one is small. The huge one is, do you believe in the collective subconscious, as Jung described, I think, or he talked about that? A collective subconscious, so we're all connected at some subconscious level?
It's not something I would know a huge amount about, Moze, but yeah, I think I think we probably are. I mean, a lot of writings have looked at that. I'm thinking actually in terms of nature. I've been reading recently about a book called, I think it's called the Secret Life of Trees, or the Hidden Life of Trees, and in that it talks about how the trees are connected through sort of underground roots, etc., and that they actually can send out warning signals to other trees. And I think we're probably very similar. We are much more connected than we realize. It's interesting sometimes, you know, you write about something in a poem or in a story, and then suddenly you notice other poems and stories being published on a similar theme, and you thought you were being totally original, but actually I think there is a kind of, like you say, a collective unconscious there that we on some level that we're all working with. Yeah, no, I would believe in that, actually, Moze.
Okay, that's very interesting. My last question is, if I haven't read Fruit, I have an excuse because this is lockdown, but if I would like to read it, and can we order it? I mean, I think you have or had a bookshop as well in Kinsale.
I did. I don't anymore, and I did have some in the local bookshop here and in Carrigaline, but they've sold out. I've recently reordered some. So, I mean, if anyone does want a copy, they can send me a friendly email and I might send one out to them. But also it can actually be ordered online or through SurVision books.
Okay, if you give me the details later, I'll put them.
I will.
This promo teaser video for March 10th, when everyone will be asked to come dressed as a Mad Hatter. I'm only joking. And I'll see you then and see you there. Thanks very much, Martin.
Thanks, Moze.